Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Where is Shay? And my name is Shay. And I have two lovely guests with me today, Miss Raina Bailey from Houston, Texas. She was my old program coordinator with Presbyterian Children's Houses and Services program. And also I have Miss Sheila Pullum from Oakland. She's a financial literacy advisor, and just helping people get back to being financially responsible and stable in their lives. But this topic today is about homelessness. And some people always think when you hear or see homeless, you think about people under a bridge or homeless encampments or somebody pushing a shopping cart or on the corner begging for money. But I'm here to tell you that is not true. That's one part of it, but I actually was homeless at one point in my life in 2016. Me and my son, Elijah, he was in high school at the time. I worked for the state of Texas and we got paid once a month on the first. And my travel check was pretty much my second check of the month for me. But I'm not going to call out my supervisor's name, but she held on to my travel checks for a while. And that kind of just put me in a financial rut. And I got into the payday loan cycle. And it just was like, you go get one payday loan to pay off the other one. And you guys, I was up to 6 payday loans. And not trying to get my family involved in my personal business, which a lot of people do. They don't want to reach out for help until sometimes it's too late. And I was like, I have so many payday loans now that I'm about to be homeless. I didn't want to move back to Phoenix. I didn't want to move back home, was ashamed, a single mom with probably a 15, 16-year-old son at the time, and was like, what am I going to do? And one day I was at work and a representative from Presbyterian foster agency came in and told us about other services that they offered. And that's when I learned about the women's and children's shelter that Miss Raina Bailey works for. And I was one of the first residents at that time in 2016 to live on campus. And it's a beautiful facility on a church campus. There's 7 units, fully furnished, beautiful inside, Wi-Fi for you to study if you had online classes, if you needed to apply for jobs. I was even loving the cable too. I was like, okay, cable over here. But the only thing I couldn't do was bring my dog. So I was worried about that. And one of my foster families that was on one of my old workloads, they were willing to keep my dog for me for a year. So the program is for a year. Miss Raina, if you want to just touch a little bit about what's offered for these families, and I can kind of chime in on what benefited me while I was there.
Gotcha. Okay, so for the single parent family program, pretty much what we do is we provide a temporary non-emergency home to women and children who are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. Now, once in the program and you have your safe, stable base, once in the program, we have weekly case management, we have parenting classes. We also work with a plethora of agencies and programs in the community to help moms go back to school, alleviate debt, work on financial literacy, get plugged in with daycare, any formal assistance, TANF, SNAP benefits, insurance, Medicaid, et cetera, employment programs out in the community, furniture programs, like anything that you could possibly think of that would allow mom to be able to get back onto her feet and work towards self-sufficiency and independence. And then also on top of that, what we provide, I think more than anything that I think kind of allows mom to really focus is felt safety, stability and felt safety. And that's the main thing with the homes, is that our families, they're coming to us out of crisis.
Right.
And mom can't focus on going back to school or alleviating debt or employment if mom is literally trying to focus on how do I get through Monday to get through Tuesday to get to Wednesday. So I think the main thing that we provide that I think is the most important is the stable home and the stable home that leads to felt safety for the family, so that mom can clear her head and look past Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, next week, and look further down the road. And then I think that's when mom comes in and she starts establishing her goals for the year that she's getting ready, that she's preparing for to transition out. But pretty much everything that we do here is for the family to obtain felt safety and for mom to be able to look to the future and put whatever goals that she wants to set for herself, and then utilize programs and resources from the community to aid her in her goals.
Right. I know when I used to pay my rent portion over there, I like the fact that that was pretty much just a savings account
Yes.
for me to get back at the end of my year.
Yes.
So it wasn't like you guys were really pocketing it for the program. It was really for us to have, financial freedom pretty much when we leave, if it's putting on a deposit down at my new place or, whatever we needed to use it for, furniture or whatever. Miss Sheila, with them having that type of program where it's pretty much a savings account for a year, what advice would you give to these moms or other individuals, just if you had that opportunity to save like that, how to apply it wisely when you leave a program?
That's a good question, actually. It's just based on the needs of the individual, what they're trying to do. I mean, I'm big on entrepreneurship, so I'd say for them to invest, if that's what they're looking for, to invest in doing something for themselves, as well as, having a job. Like, I'm a strong advocate for people that want to go to work, but I'm also a strong advocate for people that have a home-based business. For me, I'm retired from corporate America. So I lost my job actually from a mistake that I made a long time ago, but I lost my job 20 years after that mistake. Yes, they fought to keep me. Because of my work ethics, but at the end of the day, I lost that job. So for me, it's allowing somebody to put me in a position where I could have been one check from homelessness, in all honesty. So I became an entrepreneur. So, I mean, I'd say to do something on the side if that's where they're going, if they're passionate about it, but definitely learn how to save. I mean, saving and keeping a security, a security nest. I mean, saving, emergency saving is very, very important, because many people don't even have $500 saved. Sad but true.
Yeah. What's a good dollar amount when it comes to saving? I mean, I know everybody's in a different financial scale in their household, but 5, 20, just a good starting point that you would suggest just for people just to try to have.
At least a month worth of your saving. I mean, a month worth of your expenses, if at all possible. Because people can't even save $100, but if at all possible, at least a month worth of saving of your expenses, because at the end of the day, if you can't cover your expenses when they come around, you're in trouble.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Miss Raina?
I was just going to say that was the whole idea behind our rent/savings program, because we are a nonprofit, so we do not profit from the single parent program at all. But that was the whole point. Was two parts to it, for our families to kind of either obtain or maintain that life skill of having a bill as significant as paying rent. Maintaining that type of life skill, because it's very much needed. If paying your rent on time and being able to have those funds available to meet that responsibility. So maintaining that life skill of paying rent, but also teaching them how to build a savings through their rent with us. so that when they did leave, like Shay said, you had money to put down for your first and last month's rent or security deposit or furniture, whatever the case was, or just emergency savings, whatever it was that you needed to do with that money. It was just two parts to it: keeping that life skill and then learning how to build that savings.
Right. I know, like Miss Sheila says, she advocates for entrepreneurship. And at that time, I was a social worker at Child Protective Services in Houston. But my side hustle was always fashion styling. But I always just wore sunglasses all the time. And that, people were like, Shay, where you get those glasses? I'm like, these, Dollar Tree or, Rainbow. But I was like, well, I think I think it was some kind of class going on, Miss Raina, at the time. And I think they were talking about entrepreneurship. And I was like, well, I'm kind of getting tired of the fashion styling part of it. Let me look into these sunglasses and see. And that's where I actually launched my business, was at your program. So a lot of people was like, where did you start, or what made you start? It was just having that come to Jesus moment. And I think living on that church grounds. And I think I was kind of battling with God a lot of times on why me? Why am I here? What did I do to deserve this? I'm in a career where I'm helping children and families, why I'm at this. But after a while, it was like, why not you? You might be a testimony for somebody in the future. So I'm just going to take it as that. It was a real challenging time, and Miss Raina knows I was in that office sometimes, and like my son was off the chain. He was a teenager and battling with his sexuality and coming out, and me battling with being in denial about my son being gay. So, you offering us counseling and even those one-on-one conversations. Sometimes Elijah just needed to come in there and talk to you, or I just needed to come in there, or we both in there. But but I just really appreciate, it wasn't just like, oh, I was a check mark there. You just were checking me off. Like, I met with Shayd today. You were always available for any kind of questions. And we just always had target goals to touch on monthly when we had those monthly meetings, and how achieving and accomplishing things. And, everybody's levels were different. Some might be coming in and wanted to finish school. I already did that in my life. So, you were putting programs in place for me, that accommodated my life situation while being there. So I like that it just wasn't no cookie cutter kind of program. Like, I didn't go through domestic violence. Well, you need to take domestic violence anyway. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So, I enrolled in home ownership classes and things like that. And that was very helpful, and just things I didn't know. So Miss Sheila, I guess my question to you is, dealing with credit, what's the ideal credit score? Because some people like, oh, I got a such and such. And it's like, no, that's really not good. Or what is like an ideal credit score? I know living in California and the rent is way higher than when I lived in Texas, but, and they want like 3 times the rent, for you to show. So what are things or advice you can give to people on credit scores and tips on how to maintain it, or getting things off of your credit? And
Yes. Okay. So many of us have issues with, many of us haven't been taught about credit. That was one of my issues. So how I got into credit was because nobody taught me about credit. There was no education in school about credit. I was taught how to write a check, but not how to build credit and maintain credit, or just the financial literacy piece of, just financial literacy in general. And so I messed up my credit, which is why and just one day, like, I've been through so much in life. And first, let me say, Miss Raina, what you guys are doing is amazing. I'm over here, like, my heart is just full. Just listening to what you provide is priceless. It's priceless. So I tip my hat to you, and you're still there pushing, and you're changing so many.
I love it.
you're changing so many lives. You know, I know you probably know that, but I just had to say that. That's very important. And for somebody to care too, that's the best part. How she said you were watching at that gate because you care about people. A lot of people are put in positions and don't care about people. So I'm honored to just share this space with you. And I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. But when it comes to credit, we don't know much about it. People think that you have to wait 7 to 10 years to fix it. That's not accurate. There's laws that protect us as consumers because creditors are sloppy and credit bureaus, they don't verify information. If I say one of you guys owe me 10,000 and I know enough of your personal information, it'll get slapped on your credit profile and you guys have to fight it to get it off, you know, and that's just the way credit works. It's not really a system designed for us. So once I fixed my credit and saw all the doors that opened up with good credit, I had no clue. I had no clue. And I felt it was my moral obligation. Like I've always been big on giving. So I started just fixing everybody credit for free. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is taking up a lot of time, you know? So
Yeah.
I was looking into starting a business and then I ended up purchasing a credit repair franchise, which was one of the best investments I've ever made in myself. So I fixed my credit. Literally, credit is power. They say money is power, but credit is power because your money can only go so far. And our people really just need to understand that you can get rid of negative items, whether you do it yourself or you come to a professional like myself. I don't care where you go, just fix your credit, you know, because you're being held back with bad credit. You're paying for cars 3 and 4 times. You're facing interest rates that should be illegal. But they not. Like many people, I was there. I had double-digit interest rates on a car before the car is even done being paid for. It ain't worth nothing. It's upside down on the loan because we don't know any better. So I got out there and started spreading that information. And what I love about our program is we have a youth financial literacy program. So we share it with the youth. I've been honored to actually go in schools and teach it financial literacy, you know, to bridge that gap because we didn't have that. And that's how I ended up in a position that I was in. Really a 680 is considered good credit. Of course, you want to get higher than that, of course. You want to delete any negative items, dispute them for deletion. And the reality is it doesn't even matter if it's your item. What matters is the accuracy of that item. So how our program works is we leverage the Fair Credit Act. And that's a law that says information has to be 100% accurate. If it's not accurate, it has to be deleted. It doesn't matter if it's your student loan. It doesn't matter if it's your bankruptcy. None of that matters. If it is not 100% accurate, it has to be deleted. Most of the time it ain't accurate because they don't care about you. Slapping information every 30 days, it has to be reported to the bureaus. Stuff gets shifted from hand to hand, collector to collector, creditor to creditor, and that information is most of the time not accurate. That's why we've been able to get millions of direct. We just had somebody get 23 student loans deleted. I'm like,
wow.
Outrageous. Not me because mine's are positive, but I'm happy to help somebody.
You can definitely delete mine if you can find a way.
They have to be a negative. So you can't dispute positive marks. So they have to have a negative impact on your credit. So anything with a negative impact, to get the most effective score, you want to get rid of old addresses, old phone numbers, old jobs, because we don't know these things, but it's looked at as unstable. Vendors are looking at you. If you got too much of something, they looking at you like you unstable. So these are the inside things that people just really don't know, that just not shared out there. So you want to get rid of inquiries. You know, you want to get rid of all that stuff. If you have more than 3 inquiries, you're looked at as risky because you're applying for stuff and getting denied.
Well, I mean, like even coming out of that program, I think like the utility companies, they run your credit. Who else runs your credit? It was mainly the utility companies and other companies. So do those inquiries give you a ding too, just for trying to find utilities and stuff like that?
Well, it just depends. Some of them are soft pulls. If your credit is being ran for certain things, the chances are it's going to give you a hard pull on your credit. It just depends. Some utility, when they run it, that's a soft pull. So most of the time, utility people like that, it's a soft pull for things like that. However, you need that credit, like coming out of a program like that, definitely you need credit. I was going to ask Ms. Raina, are you, I would assume you're helping them with credit as well. With a well-founded program for sure.
Yes. Yes. So the financial piece of our program, that is one of the things that we do focus on, is from the get-go. I do like to plug my clients into a financial program out in the community, because I'm not well versed in that area, so I would never take the lead on that. So I do plug my clients in with the financial program that's out in the community. And that's one of the very first things that we try to tackle, because in the time that I've been doing this, that's been one of the bigger barriers. Childcare is up there as far as a barrier whenever they get ready to transition out, but that financial piece. I've seen one too many times where one of my moms, they're getting ready to leave, and if the financial piece really hasn't been accomplished, there's a lot of barriers that start popping up that prevent them from attaining like something like their own apartment.
Right.
So the financial piece is one of the first things that we start focusing on.
Absolutely. I do have some partners in Houston. I'd love to share that information with you as well if you are looking for more people to collaborate with. Our program actually I help people all over, but if you're looking local, I do have a huge team in Houston, and we have 11 additional services. So our program comes with budgeting and saving. It comes with credit monitoring, identity theft protection. This is with the credit repair. You actually get living will and trust, healthcare power of attorney. Many people don't understand the importance of those documents. So you get a full protection, and it's not just credit repair.
I seen on your site, Miss Sheila, can you touch on positive financial skills, as far as like what are some good financial skills to really hone into?
Well, just basically paying your bills on time, understanding that, setting up automatic payment. Because a lot of people, when you come out into the world from especially places like yours, you don't really have, in your program, you set those things up like a savings, but a lot of people, like when they go out into the world, they're not used to paying for different things. They get credit cards, they're not used to making those payments. So it turns into late payments, and all of these things are part of irresponsible habits that has to be shifted. Making payments on time, not overusing. So when I fixed my credit, I didn't have the financial literacy. So what I got, you guys, let me just tell y'all, I've been able to maintain it now. Well, I've always been able to maintain it, but I have so many credit cards because nobody didn't give me the financial literacy piece. And I have literally in the past 5 months paid down $50,000 worth of debt due to not having that financial literacy. Because I'm swiping. I fixed my credit, but I got a lot of credit cards and just swiping. So now I know better, and it's cost me, but I do know better, and I'm teaching others, how to maintain that credit. You never really want to spend more than, they say 30, I say 25% of your available credit, because if an interest charge hit it, then you pushed over the 30 mark, and then it drops your score. Definitely making sure you make your payments on time, because a late payment can hit you over 100 points. So just really having healthy habits of understanding what credit is, understanding how to budget, understanding saving money. And we have our saving program. It gives you a reminder, hey, did you put your $20 up, whatever amount you set? So just having that accountability as far as creating the healthy habits and moving forward into them, especially going out into the world, because the world ain't out there to protect us. It's people like us, like Miss Raina, that help position people to be better.
Yeah, because coming out of high school, and then it seems like soon as they just have like a radar that they know you're going to college, and there's those credit cards are coming. So you got the student loans and the credit cards coming in, and we just was swiping away just for spring break trips and outfits, and then like, well, who's gonna pay this now? I was like, oh well,
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to hear that you're going into these high schools and these schools teaching them, because that's just something that wasn't taught, and no blame on our parents or anything like that. That was just nothing we talked about, to how to file your taxes and, credit scores and paying bills on time. So I'm happy to hear that you are teaching that to a younger audience as well. And I know even with the stimulus checks, I hope people are really doing positive things with it, other than going on these lavish shopping sprees and just being excited just to buy something in COVID land. But I mean, are you guys touching on that, Miss Raina? Because I'm stimulus checks weren't out back then like that, but are you guys touching on?
So, I like to encourage my clients. So even just with around income tax time, but of course, also on top of income tax time and with the stimulus checks, I like to encourage my clients to put that money aside or invest, do something positive with that money. I don't really pressure them, but I do encourage them to do something positive with that money. But excuse me. But the reality is for the population that I do serve, this is probably one of the first times that they've ever had a lump sum of money put into their hands. And it can be tricky trying to encourage someone to set the money aside or pay off a debt or whatever the case is, do something responsible with the money, because they see it as an opportunity to maybe give themselves and or their kids something or some things that they haven't been able to do in the past. But the encouragement is there to, money is very emotional. That's one thing that I have learned and I have seen over the past several years, is that money is very emotional. But the encouragement is there from me to do something responsible with the money. But that can be hard within the population that I work with, because they've never come across a lump sum of money like that. And they've probably gone without for so long. And this is now an opportunity to give to themselves and to into their children in a way that they couldn't before. But the encouragement is there to do something responsible with their money.
Right.
Yeah, because I know just watching a lot of people on social media and just some of the stuff that they were buying is like, Lord, but who am I to judge,
Yeah.
So it's just like,
and that's why I try to tread lightly, because I don't want to come off, like with my clients specifically, I don't want to come off like I'm judging, because I don't know what it's like to not be able to get my kiddos new clothes or new shoes or toys or whatever the case is. And when they get that money, most of the time that's what they do. They splurged on their kiddos. And I can't put a right or a wrong label on it. I just say, well, you've done something fun. Now, how about we do something responsible? Like, can we do both
balance
things?
it out.
Not just one thing, balance it out. So.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's part of why I'm an advocate for entrepreneurship. I know it's not the golden arch. However, it takes people away from living in lack, especially like what I've been able to do. I've become an entrepreneur with my credit repair franchise. I've retired my parents. I've been able to change my life for myself and my children, leveraging a platform, that people need, so I'm an encourager of not living in lack. Of course, you got to start from somewhere. Trust me, I started from somewhere, check to checks, 540 credit score. Now I have unlimited, my credit is good. I have a bank account that's well over years of, monthly expenses versus barely even having $200 saved. So that's why I'm an advocate of, entrepreneurship. Of course, this isn't about entrepreneurship, but that's why I push it, because I encourage it. Some people don't know it. The traditional way of living has changed so much. It's changed so much. Like, people look down on different things, especially like network marketing. My program is network marketing, but the only millionaires I know are my business partners. I got around them and I got around 6 and 7 figure earners. I'm a multi 6-figure earner now. Granted, I have a bachelor's of science in human services. And I worked my butt off, you guys. And within years, I've grown more than I've grown in my entire life. And I'm 45 years old. So it speaks volumes as to what you can get connected to that can change your life. So I just encourage people to look for something bigger than their 9 to 5, whatever that passion is. Find your passion. And I'm like, if you can move in your passion, I think you'll move from living check to check.
Yeah. And I think that was just one of the scariest things. I remember graduating in Phoenix, in the same living room in my mom's house where I'm at now, and was just like, Mom, I'm ready to leave Arizona. This is not for me anymore. and my credit was good. You know, I did the things responsible, you know, with my financial aid, and was just applying online and landed the job in Houston. So going out there with a good credit score, going out there, you know, being able to just uproot me and my son, not have to get a co-signer on apartments, all that felt good. And it was just like knowing that my life was in somebody else's hands to hold my check, you know. And then it was just like, it just started just to go down. And I think what I try to tell people, no matter how embarrassing it may feel, or, you know, just open up to somebody really close to you for help, because you don't know what kind of guidance or feedback they can give you. And my pride just got in the way, or I can figure it out on my own, you know, and not knowing, just like you said, the interest rate and these payday loans is like the devil. There's no other way I can say it. And it was just like paying Paul to pay Peter, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I paid the whole new edition. But and it was just like, Lord, what am I gonna do? And I tell you, Miss Raina, I was gonna call off that day for work. I was like, I'm not going to work. I feel like my world is just crashing. And it was just seeming like I was seeing so many homeless people just in my face. And that was all I was seeing, was like, I'm about to be out there just like them. But I got a son, you know, I got to do something. It's just not me. And I'm grateful I went to work that day and I heard about your program. And I'm just still happy to see it's still up and running. I'm still happy to see you're there and still knowing you're helping families. Like Miss Sheila said, you know, and I'm not trying to cry, but I do greatly appreciate your program in so many ways. In so many ways. You have helped me grow as a woman. I went from fighting with God to where he humbled me to only lean on him. And it was days that I just felt like giving up. And then it was just, it could be something simple. You would just send out in an email like, hey, ladies, today we're going to have such and such come visit the program. And it might be somebody like Miss Sheila. And, you know, and they were people that really cared about what they did too to serve the community. It wasn't just like, okay, we partner with Miss Raina's program. You guys really find people that really care. And that's what I really appreciate about your program. And it really felt good to just move out of there. But I was still in that neighborhood. And I would get my gas and my groceries from across the street from where you're at Kroger's. And it was like, I was over there, you know, I could pump my gas and just look over there. I'm like, I was over there. And look where I'm at now. And, you know, you just want to thank God. And, you know, like I said, you know, it's always a stereotype of people outside looking in, or they see, you know, you doing all these big things on Facebook, but everything that glitters ain't gold. Right. And you just don't know what people are going through. And I posted a picture of myself and I was dolled up. Ooh, honey, I was dolled up. I was going to a church event, but I was just so torn and beaten in the inside. And your program just kind of just made me realize there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes. And I was going to be okay. And I'm grateful that it wasn't like some kind of fast-paced kind of program. It was really a year to really get on my feet. The same way that my CPS clients have a year to get on their feet to get their children back, you guys gave me that opportunity to get back on my feet for me and my son. So I really thank your program for assisting me and my child at that time in our lives. And, you know, I moved out and Elijah graduated from high school and, you know, he's an adult now, and I teach him about the responsibilities of, you know, balancing the checkbook, and he's learning now. He said, Mama, I'm never getting a roommate again. He was like, everything's in my name. they don't want to pay the bills on time. This falls on me. And he was like, and the guy, Mr. Dave, the financial
Yes.
advisor, I still have a copy of his spreadsheet, the budget sheet. And he'd be like, Mama, where's the Mr. Dave's spreadsheet? Because I need to give this to my roommate. So not knowing that your program was teaching me to teach my son, to not get in a situation like this. And he values his credit and knows, what, this is my name. You're my roommate under my name. You might not take it serious, but I'm taking it serious. So I'm glad I got that education from your program to teach my son, because like Ms. Sheila said, we weren't taught, about credit scores and things like that. But I'm just really grateful that I can be a testimony to somebody else. Like, don't judge people or don't speak down on anyone, because you don't know when that situation might come to you. You don't know how it's going to come. You don't know how God is going to use you to break you down and then build you back up and build you up for other people as well. So, when I go back home, I tell people California homeless population is out of control right now. And I can walk 2 blocks and the homeless encampment is so large, it's sad. And I'm gonna include some of those pictures at the end of this video to show, like, this is the California dream. You too can end up just like that fast. Some people choose to be homeless, mental health and other things that may be going on. But like I said, I was that paycheck from being homeless. And then I got to that point where it was like, I have so many payday loans, I can't pay them, but they got access to my bank account. I'm gonna have to go get a whole nother bank account. It was just like, what do I do? So I'm grateful for your program and being able to get back on my feet, still maintaining my sunglasses business. I've been a vendor at Miss Sheila's events in the past, and that's how I met her. So I relaunched it. I took a break from it because of COVID. Nobody was going nowhere. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be buying glasses. Everybody on lockdown. So I guess you look fly in the house. So, but I didn't think it was gonna start back up, being successful this year. And I'm traveling with it again and doing it again. So I was like, okay, and still doing my social work, as my day job. But I just wanted to just touch on this topic, just like I said, with the homeless encampment just being 2 blocks away from me. And I talked to some of those people out there just to hear their stories. And some of them was like, it's my fault why I'm here, or my drug usage landed me here. But some people was just like, they didn't know how to get out of domestic violence situations. He was the breadwinner, and they didn't have no life skills. So I'm glad that you say your program touches on life skills, how to be independent and self-sufficient, because depending on somebody else to maintain your livelihood is not a good position to be in at all. So, and I sit there and I talk to some of those women. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am, somebody that was homeless. So I have several things that, I relate to other people. They just see the exterior and think, oh, Shay ain't been through nothing, but you just never know. I try to teach people, don't prejudge, and I always try to stay humble. But Miss Raina, as far as if somebody is interested in, getting into this program, can you just touch on, like, from start to finish, how it kind of flows so they can get an idea?
So the very first step would be to go to our agency website where our application is located. It's www.pchas.org. And under the single parent family program, you just click the link and the application is there. Like Shay mentioned in the beginning, we have 3 program locations here in Texas. There's one in Houston, one in San Antonio, and one in Waxahachie, Texas, which is an hour outside of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Single parent programs now in Missouri, in the state of Missouri. And you pretty much, you fill out the application in its entirety. Once you hit submit, Your application will come to all the coordinators, and depending on your primary location that you specify, that specific coordinator will reach out to you. We will have a conversation with you, screen your application. At that time, if we have any availability, we will let you know what the next step is, which would be an interview for admission. And if we don't have any availability, you will go on our waiting list. And that's probably one of the hardest things about those first steps, is having to tell a family in need that we do have a waiting list. It's not the response that you want to hear when you are in crisis. But as you've been touching base on, the need is so great. It far outweighs the resources. So unfortunately, a lot of times we do have a wait list, but I still encourage families in need to get on the waiting list, because at some point we will get to your application. And I would rather have, I would rather have you on the waiting list and needing help than not on the waiting list and still needing help, and there's no way to contact you. But so let's say a family fill out the application, we have a spot available, we do the interview, we do the intake assessment. If everything goes well and we feel that the family is a good fit for the program, and the family feels that they would like to move forward with the program, because again, I don't think I said this before, but it's a team effort. It's not only us welcoming in the family, but it's the family deciding if we are right for them as well. Team effort from day one. But if you decide that you want to move forward with the program, we set a move-in date. And like Shay mentioned, our units, which here in Houston, we have 2-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes. They come fully furnished. We are ready for a family. If all they had were the clothes on their back, our units are ready for you to move in with just that. We have financial assistance, limited financial assistance set up. We have little items in the unit for the family. It's fully furnished, fully decorated, and it's ready for the family to go. And then we get started. The first month that the family is here with us, they're still in a pretty fragile state, so we do take it pretty easy. But then after that, I start trying to encourage my families, let's start looking to the future. What are we working on? What do we need to resolve? But I mean, it's a pretty simple kind of start to the program. Application, interview, we have an opening, you move in, and the unit is ready to go to welcome you, and we are prepared to get you through the first couple of months on whatever the family's needs are. And as long as mom, so basic eligibility criteria for anyone out there who may be interested. Here in Houston, I service single mothers. Our Waxahachie campus, they also service single dads as well, but for here in Houston, it's just single moms. Mom has to be 18 years of age or older and have at least one child in her physical custody. For Houston, mom can't have more than 3 children total, just because of the size of our units. Our San Antonio campus and our Waxahachie campus, they can admit larger families.
Okay.
And yes, they can admit larger families. But as long as mom is willing to alleviate any barriers to her education, like obtaining her GED if she didn't finish high school, and or going back to going to college, and is able to obtain and maintain employment, at least part-time employment, that's our most basic eligibility criteria. 18 years of age or older, able to work, and you have at least one child in your custody.
Wow.
I'm glad to hear about the part of it for the single dads too, because there are, single men out there that are raising their children as well. So I'm glad to hear about. Was that always like that, or
no, that's something that was actually put in place 2-3 years ago, I think. So it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad, because I think one time, somebody mentioned to me back then, like, do they have something like that for men? And I said, no, I don't think so. They kind of was getting on me, like, why not? I'm like, look, I didn't make the program now. I understand, it's like, shoot, I don't think I'm sharing this information. I'm getting beat up on the sidelines. Well, ladies, I greatly appreciate you both joining me today. Everyone, I'm going to share their information, their websites, and things like that, so you know how to get a hold of Miss Sheila. Like she said, she services clients nationwide, so y'all don't have no excuse that you can't find Pookie and Ray Ray in your neighborhood to help you with your credit. We have Miss Sheila here. And if you guys have any questions for Miss Raina, you know, I'll leave the link on how to sign up. But like I said, I greatly appreciate the program, Ms. Raina, and all the assistance that, you know, you gave to me and my son. And Miss Sheila, I see you doing big things. I said, this woman live at the Mercedes dealership with a bow. I said, you know what, one of these days I'm gonna give me a Mercedes, and Miss Sheila is gonna put my bow on my car. So I'm gonna claim my Mercedes one day, and Miss Sheila is gonna be there with me.
Love to
I
jump
said, because if she go to this dealership one more time without me, I know something. So she doing something good, y'all, because she always got a bow at the Mercedes dealership with somebody. But I just want to thank you both again, and everybody that's watching, just always know to stay prayed up and always know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and just continue to just have faith and everything is going to be all right.